Welcome to Rebels in Review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Season 2, Episode 17, The Forgotten Droid. And just a warning, this will obviously contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen it yet, you'll want to come back afterwards. Well, I'll start it off by saying, we had to wait 2 weeks for this episode because, for whatever reason, Disney XD decided to take a break last week. Of course, the last episode we had was Shroud of Darkness, which was, if not the best episode of Rebels, definitely in the top two or three. So this was a little bit of a letdown. I don't want to say this was a terrible episode. It was a Chopper episode, which I like Chopper. You know, he seemed to get his C-3PO counterpart in this episode. I don't know if that's going to hold. I don't know if this new droid is going to be, a continuing character or not. But not the episode I was looking for, as you might want to put it. I don't know what you thought.
Well, first off, I thought that for all the work that, Chopper, he's got an attitude, but for all the work he does for the ship, one of them couldn't have gone over there and haggled and gotten him that leg before they stopped at the fuel depot. It wasn't very far away. I thought it wasn't out of the way. They could have actually just gone and given him a little leg up.
God, that was terrible.
It's supposed to be. They made leg jokes too often in that episode.
Yes, they did. So you had a I agree. I mean, it didn't make any sense. Like they couldn't just go over there. I'm
I mean,
sure it wasn't charging a ridiculous amount for an old astromech leg.
and Ezra and Hera are kind of close to Chopper, the two of them. Hera especially, so I don't see why they wouldn't have done something to just help him out. Instead, we had to watch an entire episode of Chopper running around. Which, don't get me wrong, I love Chopper. He's great.
Well, yeah. I mean, you bring up a good point. I mean, you can definitely see that Hera and Chopper have been together since the Clone Wars. She obviously found her when she was probably a child. I mean, that was probably the coolest part of the episode is we got to know how she found him. And he was in the Clone Wars. He was in a Y-wing, which I didn't even know were around in the Clone Wars. But there you go. There's some new canon for you. So that was cool. What this episode really reminded me is if you're a Clone Wars fan, how you would have some really good episodes, and also out of nowhere you'd get a Jar Jar episode or a R2 and C3 episode. It's just this just felt very misplaced for me. This should have been an episode much earlier in the season when we had this kind of lull. Instead, we had, like I said, the amazing episode last week, and now we kind of get this episode that we had to wait 2 weeks for. So it was just, I guess that was my biggest problem with it. Is I'm still, let's just kick it into hyperdrive, to use a stupid pun, and let's keep going with these really good episodes and close out the season.
It might have been strategic, though. They showed us an amazing episode, then they disappointed us. Now, pretty much whatever they put next is going to be great.
I guess like I said, it wasn't a terrible episode. It's just that's just not what I wanted. And I mean, I'd seen the previews, so I kind of had a feeling this is what we were gonna get. And does Chopper deserve an episode? Sure. Just seems the timing seemed off for me. I mean, why are we going to Malachor, which is where we pretty much ended off last week? And I understand the fleet needs fuel, and it. I don't know. It's a disappointing episode. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I did like that they threw Ketsu back in there. I mean, she was at the very beginning of the episode, and then she popped in again near the end.
That was cool. Yeah, I mean,
I wish they would have named the planet that they're using for their new rebel base. I mean,
I hope it's
they went there.
Dantooine. I mean, let's go to Dantooine already. Let's start doing that because we know that's where the first rebel base was, according to A New Hope. I doubt that's what it is. I'm sure they'll probably set that up a little bit more. But you're right. I wish they would give the name of the planet that we just showed up at.
Yeah.
My real hope for this episode, and I think this is a extremely long shot, is I know in Rogue One we've pretty much had it confirmed that I think his name is Alan Tudyk. He was in Firefly. He's going to be playing a repurposed Imperial droid who's supposed to be very funny and humorous. I think there's a small chance that this new droid that we got introduced, the Chopper's friend, I can't remember his name already, sadly, is going to be that. I highly doubt it because I don't think they're going to do much connection between the two. I don't think we'd have a character introduction in Rebels already, but it would be really cool if they did. I don't know what you're.
I would really like to see it. I know that they codenamed it Seal Droid,
Oh, you're right.
which it could still be this droid, but that's the codename they've used for it so far in the secretive language of Star Wars,
Yeah, I thought
where we name things after sea creatures and such. But I mean, that would be really cool to see
really cool.
where that droid comes from.
It would be just to have some kind of acknowledgement that we actually had Rebels introduce something. I mean, I still like my theory that Thrawn is going to show up next season in Rebels after he shows up in Rogue One, but who knows about that? All right, well, I think that's about it for this episode. Hopefully, next week's we'll have something a lot better to discuss. Again, not a terrible episode, just not the one. These aren't the droids we're looking for. It's just really.
No, but I'm sure the kids enjoyed this episode. All two of them that watched the show.
Yeah, I mean, how many kids really watch this show? I mean, it's on unless you watch it online like we do. It's on at 9 o'clock on the East Coast. I mean, how many kids get to stay up? I know when I was really young, I wasn't get to stay up till 9 o'clock watching a cartoon.
Yeah, but you do hear from a lot of Star Wars fans that they love watching this with their kids, and if that's the case, then they may have really enjoyed this episode. Got to keep that in mind, I suppose.
I'm sure. It's such a it's so weird because a lot of. I mean, I'm in my 30s. I will love the show. I watch the show, so it's got such a broad age range. If there really are that many kids watching it, and I have no idea if there is or not. That I'm sure a lot of fans, make their kids watch it, but I don't know how many kids just independently watch the show. Probably a lot. But anyway, let's wrap this up. Again, hopefully next week we'll be talking about some really cool episode. Maybe Darth Maul finally shows up next week. I think that's a big rumor. But that's it for now.
If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to us. Come to our Twitter page at tel_Kanja Club. Always looking for some new gang members to join us. Have a good one.